How's it going, guys? This is Andy again. I'm here with the man from Badly Drawn Boy. How you doing today?
Good to meet you, Andy.
Very
Cheers.
good, very
Right.
good. Tell me, how did South by Southwest go?
Um, it was much less hectic than I expected it, and in a good way. It was like well paced. I mean, I did 5 shows in 2 days, albeit shorter shows than normal. They were like half an hour shows, and then the final big show was at Stubbs on Friday night, which was the most prestigious one of the five. But it was just really pleased with how it went. It was pretty full on, but I managed to do 4 or 5 very different setup shows, and they're all well attended as well. It was like I've always thought about South by Southwest. Never went there before. Never had the chance. It never worked in the schedule in previous years. So it was nice to go there and feel like I made some kind of impact. It was just good. I mean, and it wasn't too crazy. It wasn't unbearably, like.
People pushing you from every side or anything like that?
Yeah, I just expected to be grabbed on the street every 5 seconds by some film crew or somebody wanted an interview, and it was like that a little bit, but it was nice. People were pleasant. I think when you've got a place that's got so many bands playing, there's no competition. It's pointless. No one's a headliner really in a place like that. So the egos tend to disappear, and people just enjoy it. And that was the case, I think. And I saw Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips wandering around. He's a kind of old friend of mine, and he was covering the Tonight Show or something for Jay Leno, like wandering around as their roving reporter. So it was good to see him there as well.
Were you able to see any music acts there that you really enjoyed, or something that you would hope to see and you finally got a chance to?
Well, I mean, it's difficult when you got so many gigs to do and you need a break in between them. So I didn't wander around. There was a few acts I wanted to see that didn't, and I didn't. The Midlake were playing, but we'd already left Austin to go to the next show, and then Sparkleos were playing. I fancied seeing them, and didn't make that one either. But I saw. Around the time I was playing, I saw the acts before me and after me on the gigs I was doing. I saw at Stubbs, for example, I saw Perry Farrell, which was quite.
Oh wow!
It's quite scary, to be honest, to go on stage after someone like Perry Farrell, because I remember when I actually said on stage I was more of a Porno for Pyros fan. Jane's Addiction kind of didn't pass me by. I wasn't in the right zone at the time to accept their music in a way. I like it more now, but Porno for Pyros happened at a point where I was really into a certain kind of music, and I went to see them play quite a few times. And so to walk on after Perry Farrell was, because he is pretty much a rock star in the archetypal sense. So I felt a little. I think the nerves were even more jangly because of walking on stage after him. And then afterwards, Damon Albarn's new outfit played, with Paul Simon and the Good, the Bad, and the Queen, and that was great. I stood and watched them and hung out with them afterwards because I know Damon quite well. And I met Paul Simon once before, and they were just. I thought their set was great. It was like I hadn't really got my head into the album yet. I'd heard a few of the songs, but to see him play it live, it really came together. And so yeah, it's a blessing when what you do yourself allows you to mingle with these other people that you like, and you like the music. It's one of the perks of being in this business, I suppose.
Kind of like a big clubhouse or kind of a thing where you can hang out and just. You're all doing the same thing, and you can go back and give each other feedback, things like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sean, my bass player, he plays with me on the road and has played on 2 of my albums now. For him to meet Paul Simon, and I introduced them to each other, and he's one of his heroes, and he's like, I'll never forget this. So to be able to be in a position where you can introduce your bass player to someone like Paul Simon from The Clash is just like it's a privilege, isn't it? It's kind of
Definitely a perk.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your album, Born in the UK. It's been out for a few months now. Do you have any? What kind of feedback has it been getting? Have you gotten a lot of positive? Any negative? What's really surprised you as far as any response that you've gotten about the record?
It's strange. I spent one night by accident trying to get some music in my iTunes at home. Into my iPod, and clicked on this Badly Drawn Boy link, which I don't tend to do. I don't really look at these things because it's distracting. But I accidentally saw some reviews, and they were all dreadful reviews of the album, and it made me feel sick, to be honest. And it was the day before I was going on a tour of Europe, And I almost didn't go on the tour because I was so affected by these people's comments, like saying it was the worst piece of shit they've ever heard, the album, or it was. It really affected me, and then after getting over that, I just thought, well, if that's what people want to say, that's what they want to say, and I get so much praise. I've had so much praise bestowed upon me through my career as well that equally that can be probably not the most. It can sometimes be negative in a way because you don't want to think too much of yourself. It's difficult. You always want to be liked. I have to say, I think the people who've got the record like it a lot. And then there's people out there that perhaps don't have the record because they've got a preconceived idea of my music, and a lot of that comes from just the single releases. Over the years, I've just had certain singles, and people think, oh, that's the guy that does that kind of music. But I think if you buy an album of mine, there's a lot of eclectic, kind of different kinds of music on most of the records, and I think each album has its own specific tone and flavour. I think this album's a much more mature sounding record. I think it's like my attempt to make something of a certain class and quality, and not too much messing around, not too much noodling and meandering and incidentals, and which I've done on other records. It's 12 straight songs basically, and it's more concise, and that's what I was aiming to do. I wanted to make a record that people might more easily embrace, I suppose, on a larger scale, and it's not kind of happened yet. It's not. But again, I'm learning I'm growing as a person and as an artist in terms of not being too concerned about what happens. I was expecting a #1 album with this, and it didn't happen. So, and then the singles haven't sold too well. But the world's changing. The digital age is happening as we speak, and the internet.
How do you feel about that? I mean, we have we're a website show. You know, the internet is getting much larger and larger. I mean, do you think that it's going to be more difficult in the future for artists to release a full-length album as compared to releasing all their songs on iTunes, then you can download the 3 or 4 that you want? I mean, is that going to affect the way that songs are written in the future, do you think?
I think it's difficult to predict. I mean, obviously throughout the years we've had several things that have changed the way radio works now. Like if you look at in England, it's difficult. Radio 1 kind of rules the airwaves back home in England, and then in America you've got like so many different stations that cater to specific tastes and kinds of music, and I'm sure there's artists out there that write songs specifically that are going to sound good on radio, or there's producers that have techniques that do that, and it's all well and good, it's part and parcel of what the industry is about. But I think when you're an artist that's trying to express yourself quite truthfully, none of that stuff enters your head. You're trying to make an album that expresses where you're at that point in time. So it'd be a shame if it did go all the way to where artists are less inclined to spend that time making an album. It's the format that we're used to, a generation that we're from, people in the 20s, 30s like me. You're just used to the format being a CD or an album, despite the format changes. Like CD's now an old thing. Right. Prior to that, vinyl, but still the idea of a collection of songs, a record,
having something you can hold on to and you can look at, and I can listen to this album.
Yeah.
And it'll take me an hour to listen to it, and I'll be able to enjoy it and kind of ingest it into myself.
I think I hope that both things will. I hope they'll still continue to coexist. Like you can still buy the CD, you can still buy the vinyl, albeit in smaller quantities, and you can use your iPod, and you can go on the internet and you can download the odd song. I think all these things should remain together. If it went completely and utterly digital, for me, it could be pretty soulless. But if that's the way it's going, I'm not powerful enough to stop it. There's only one of me, so maybe it's not worth worrying about. I mean, I actually do like the idea of releasing internet-only songs. Like if I did an EP that was exclusively for my website or exclusively for MySpace or for a particular server or something, or whatever it is, I'd be up, just exclusive things. That's what it is good for. And there's a lot of positives as well. I'm not just going to be one of those people that says, oh, I'm old school, I just like buying a record. There's good things. I think the internet's affecting all kinds of businesses. It's affecting the way TV works. It's affecting
video rentals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, YouTube is completely obliterated. Probably I was talking to OJ because he used to work for VH1. It's completely affected channels like that because people can find anything they need on
on YouTube.
Yeah.
They need to watch, the latest
Yeah,
reality show.
you got control over it, which is obviously is a positive thing. Maybe everyone's just gonna have to adjust to it, and as long as I can still make music and maintain my crazy rock star lifestyle, I'll be fine.
Well, Damon, it was very nice meeting you.
Nice one, Andy.
Take care. Did you want to say anything to everybody before we take off?
Well, I just want to say thanks for anyone that supports me and my music, and anyone that cares about people and the world. That's what the album's about, really, is about what it is to be human. That's kind of what my music's about. Not in a self-righteous way. I just care about people. So anyone out there that cares, have a good time, have a good life.
Right on. Thanks a lot. Nice meeting you
Nice
again.
one, Andy.
Take care.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
This is Andy, and I am signing off. That was great.